Word to your mummy. You know what time it is, so don't go anywhere. It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness 80s-a-thon. How do you make a movie based on an anthology TV series? Well, make it an anthology film with 4 different stories, each with a different director. Each segment is a remake, or at least inspired by a classic Twilight Zone episode. My favorite part is right before the credits. 2 guys are in a car just casually talking when all of a sudden Dan Aykroyd turns into a monster and kills his friend. There's no reason. It comes out of nowhere, and that's why I love it. It's just a little warm-up to get the movie started. The first segment, by John Landis, director of An American Werewolf in London, is called Time Out, which is loosely based on the classic episode A Quality of Mercy, which guest starred Leonard Nimoy. Anyway, this first episode, which stars Vic Morrow, is the story of a racist bigot who's sent back in time to Nazi Germany to get a taste of his own medicine. Sadly, while filming, there was a helicopter accident where Vic Morrow and 2 children were killed. This scene was not included in the picture, for obvious reasons. Unfortunately, it's not a very good episode either, although a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that they couldn't finish filming it the way originally intended. The second segment, Kick the Can, is about a group of elderly people who want to relive their youth, so they play a game of Kick the Can and are reverted to their younger selves. That's all there is to it. Boring as shit. It's surprising that out of all the classic Twilight Zone episodes, they chose to remake this one, and that a great director, Steven Spielberg, is responsible for the most bland entry in the film. The third segment is when things start to get good. It's a remake of one of the best classic episodes, It's a Good Life, where a spoiled kid has special powers and uses them against his family. It's directed by Joe Dante, who's most famous for directing Gremlins. Speaking of Gremlins, it even has Dick Miller in a small role. Love that guy. He played Futterman in Gremlins. This segment is very different from the original episode. For one thing, a woman accidentally smashes the kid's bike with her car, so she gives him a ride home and meets his family. It's a good change because this allows us to observe their lifestyle through the perspective of an outside character. In the original episode, the kid forces the family to watch dinosaur films on television, but in this version he makes them watch cartoons. He uses his power to make the cartoons come alive and terrorize the family, which results in some amazing special effects. The effects were done by Rob Bottin, whose work includes John Carpenter's The Thing. It's all a tribute to the golden age of cartoons from Warner Brothers and Fleischer. I like how the house turns black and white to imitate a black and white cartoon. He fulfills all kinds of demented punishments toward the other members of the house in all kinds of ways that only a child could dream up. It's great stuff, but lacks the suspense of the original episode. The final segment, directed by George Miller, is a remake of the episode Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, starring William Shatner. Shatner's performance of a man with an intense phobia of flying is what makes the original so good. He's hilarious. Wait, so both Shatner and Nimoy were both on the Twilight Zone? Too bad they both weren't in the episode with Burgess Meredith where he played the devil. Then it would have been Kirk, Spock, and Satan.
Totally illogical.
So anyway, this time, the role of the nervous airline passenger is played by John Lithgow, and he does a respectable job. There's not much different here, except that you get to see a bit more of the monster. Well, technically, they say it's a gremlin in the original episode.
Gremlins.
A gremlin?
Gremlins.
Maybe Joe Dante should have directed this part as well. In the original, the gremlin looks absurd. It's one of the goofiest creatures ever put to screen, but it somehow fit alongside Shatner. That's where the remake prevails. Here, the creature is very well done. The moment when you first see it up close to the window comes as a real shocker and gave me nightmares as a kid. I like the original for its humorous charm, but the remake is way scarier. Burgess Meredith does the voiceover between chapters. He does a good job and was the best person they could have chosen, being that he was the star of many of the classic episodes.
You're about to meet an angry man, Mr. William Connor, who carries on his shoulder a chip the size of the national debt.
Still, it leaves you wishing Rod Serling was still alive. Twilight Zone the movie fails to capture the essence of the original TV series, but thanks to the last two segments, it's worth a watch.